Hello, and welcome to Between Two Peers, a live stream show where the hosts invite a guest from around the known world to answer your pressing questions about life, the universe, and everything. This week is sponsored by Gin and Juice, because grapefruits are in season. Also, I can't now get Katy Perry out of my head. So, anyway. I am Tulia Alori. I'm a Laurel from the West Kingdom. I am like out of fucks today. So this is as good as it gets, even though we have a wonderful royal guest. But, I think we're going to have a ton of fun today. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to my co-host, Helga, for her intro.
Hi, I'm Helga. I'm a knight, a pelican, and a royal peer in the West Kingdom. And I also have a new puppy. So please, everybody, forgive me while I'm being a puppy mom this entire show, because he has zero manners, likes to steal my mouse, and has learned where I keep the treats. So likes for treats are direct payment plan tonight, so everybody knows. Good boy, good sit. So yeah, if I shoot off screen to chase a puppy, that's please no off. This is going to be my night.
This is going to be the entire show is Helga fending off a puppy.
Yeah, the entire show is just about I tried to get him to sit to take my photo. No, we puppied right out of that.
Not going to happen.
So with that, we're very excited to have our lovely guest tonight, Mineko, who is currently the Royal Highness of... Let go of that!
For a second, she forgot where I lived.
Sorry. Her Royal Highness of Aidenvelt Mineko. I am going to be everybody's comic relief tonight, just so you know. Everybody's comic relief tonight, as my puppy just eats my soul. Mineko, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Mineko. My name at the bottom of the screen does say Mineko of Monster Hall, but currently I'm Mineko, Her Royal Highness of Aidenvelt. And I am a pelican and a ceramic artist and a squire in timeout because as a royal, I handed back my belt to my knight, Sir Cranball. And yeah, I'm an all-around SCA enthusiast. So I do all the things, but for this evening, I'm going to take this off so we can have our nice fireside chat. We can hang out and have real conversations. That's how I view that.
That's good.
I'm down for this.
Yeah.
So with that, I'm going to remind everybody of the drinking game rules. And please remember, this is an opt-in. It is built to have everybody have a way to interact with us while the show goes on. You can also drink non-alcoholic beverages. We highly recommend this when you need it. So with that, drink anytime a host or guest uses a non-SCA name when referring to somebody else on the show. Drink when somebody's pet appears on camera. We're already one drink behind. Drink when somebody calls for a soapbox or the audience calls us on a soapbox. Drink when somebody mentions spite sprinkles or toe beans. And what is the guest rule of the evening?
The guest rule of the evening is when Baby Ninja tells us that we're out of time and we keep because we're catty girls, and that's totally something that can happen. So when he lets us know that we have gone over time, we're all going to take a beverage moment.
Right. So I'm taking the first drink of the evening for pet appearing on the screen.
Wait, have we seen the pet yet? We just seen the pet.
In my intro, he showed up and was like right here. He's just black, so he doesn't show up on camera. He's a dog void. I've been trying to take pictures of my puppy, and he is just all black with two little beady eyes and a lot of love. He is a love missile with little needle teeth.
So he's like 3 months old and he's a German Shepherd.
Yeah, he's 3 months old and almost 40 pounds.
He's so cute.
Yeah, and his ears are like 4 sizes too big for his head.
I have a thing for dogs with big ears.
Yeah.
If you've seen both of my animals, they both are saucers. So
he's got he's in the big ear, big paw phase. Like Helga brought him over so I could socially distance see him as soon as she got him. She calls me up and she's all, "You want to see the dog I just adopted?" And I'm like, "Fuck yes, I do." So yeah, that was stupid.
Oh yeah. I mean, I met him at the pound. It was like 3 minutes, and I was like, "Oh, that dog's coming home."
No manners. None of like the behavior software has been installed yet. But just 100% love. So, anyways, let's get to the actual questions.
All right, well, it is. Give him 3 months. He'll have manners.
Yeah.
So the first question is for you, Sassy.
That's right, it is me. It even has my name next to it. All right, this is from us to you. How did you find the SCA?
I found the SCA through ceramics class. I was taking classes there, and now Mistress Iona, who is married to Sir Dongal, also took classes there. And we didn't really talk very much, very like project driven in our classes. And then I ran into them at a concert in Mexico for a band that we all really like called Roderick Klein Peacemakers. And we were like literally 2 tables, like watching the show. And I was like, you're that chick from my class. And then a while after that, Dongal was gone at Penzic, and Iona used to send people messages all the time, like, come watch me belly dance, come do this, come do this, come do this. And eventually it was like, we're bowling tonight. I'm like, it's Friday night. I have literally nothing happening. I like bowling. Let's go bowling. And so I hung out with Sir Gavin, and I think it was, Sir Thomas and Merrick probably. And we were all hanging out, and they got super drinky. And at that point, I wasn't really drinking very much because I'm Asian and I have a huge alcohol intolerance. And I hadn't really figured out what I could consume and be okay. And so, when I was their DD home, it turns out they lived a block and a half away from me. So I could literally drop them off. And then it was literally 2 seconds to get home. So then we just started hanging out all the time. And about a year later, I went to my first event, which was Estrella 2010.
Wow.
Nice.
That was, like random confluence of cool.
Yeah, it just worked out perfect.
You kind of just like fell into the right crowd.
I did 100%.
I also like how you fell into the deep end, like right out the gate.
No freaking joke. No joke. I think that, like the New Year's before my first Estrella, we went to a show, Roger Klein, and then we went to a party, and Iona was like, you need clothes to wear this event. I can give you like a dress. And then she spun me around into Countess Livia, who now lives in Ontier. And she's like, you guys are about the same size. Livia, she needs clothes for her first event. And that's how I met Livia. And then Countess Teal gave me clothes to wear that event also. And so my first event, not only could nobody really tell I was new, I was wearing like Countess's clothes, and it was great.
That's cool.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the next question we have for you is from Antonio. As a member of the royal family throughout the length of the pandemic, what preventative
questions? That was an original thing that was
I think that was an autocorrect that like a fail that neither of us catch. Oh, okay. So it's what preventative measures are you taking to prevent physical and mental burnout before you ascend the crown?
One, we have constant communication with their Majesties Vatenveld, Morgan, and Elizabeth, with our Seneschal, Mistress Rowan, and we are very fortunate in that. Their Majesties have decided to stay up and be our parental unit during the pandemic because they'd really like Zipser and I to have a full reign, as whatever that looks like, right? A coronation at the very minimum and some travel. And we thank them for their service, honestly. And for us, we've been doing a lot of stuff around the house, right? Like, who gets to work on their house and be rural at the same time? So I've gotten super into mid-century modern furnishings and, doing little mini room makeovers. So that's our jam right now, and that's how we're staying sane. And luckily, I still have a Valora who's like crazy into crafting, no matter what's going on in the outside world. So I still get like some swanky clothes to wear for online courts and cool stuff like that. And it's just, I'm a pretty positive person. I can be an emotional sponge. If a bunch of people are like angry and depressed around me, I'll be sad and moody. But, as long as I have people around me that are staying positive, and I'm very fortunate in my friend group, I do. That's my sanity keeper.
Awesome. Yeah. It's hard. I can only imagine. Yeah.
We have an incredibly supportive populace, so they just want everybody to stay safe. I mean, we've been the pandemic world capital more than a few times. Go Arizona. But through that, I think people are just trying to stay safe so we can all come back and enjoy our hobby.
Yeah.
All right, so this is going to be one of these new things we're trying out. It's called Choose One, No Explanation. The answer is we'll give you like three options, three or more options. You pick one. You don't have to give an explanation, although I do think the explanation would be kind of fun to add. But we're going to try this out. So this one's from Radar. Star Wars, Star Trek, or Stargate?
Young me, Star Trek, current me, Wars.
I like it.
Accepted.
Yeah.
Okay, next one comes from Sophia. Stevie, Wonder, Nyx, Ray, or Varian?
You forgot Ray Vaughn.
Oh, Ray Vaughn. Sorry.
I like that this is from Sophia because I think she's my Stevie of choice. Take that.
Yep.
None of the above.
So that's what it was. It was Stevie, Wonder, Nyx, Ray Vaughn, or Varen. So
yeah, that's her mundane last name.
Yeah, I agree. Stevie's the best Stevie.
Yeah.
All right, and with that, what we're going to do is we're going to start in with all of us answering questions. And this is where I totally screwed up the order. So I'm going first right now.
Yeah, just go first. Let's just roll.
Yeah. This one comes from Randall.
Yeah.
What in your previous life experiences led you to the SCA being so attracted? What attracted you from previous life experiences to the SCA?
So the thing I already mentioned, which was ceramics, when I would make people stuff, they would say it was really nice and stick it on a shelf. I'm like, bitch, I made you a beer mug. Drink out of the beer mug. Why won't you drink out of the beer mug? Well, I don't want to break it. I'm like, but it's functional pottery. Everything I make is functional pottery and you won't use it. So that was really attractive. And then also I was at a time in my life where I was less social at bars and clubs. I was kind of getting tired of that because I was one of those people that had like a nightclub schedule of like Tuesday night we go here and Wednesday night we go here and Thursday we go here. And I was getting tired of being out all the time. And so the SCA took that place socially.
Nice.
Yeah.
Miss Sassy?
So for me, I lived in a little fantasy cocoon my whole childhood. I was incredibly like wrapped up in the ideas of princesses and knights and castles, and I loved all of it. Except for mostly I was like the princess that in my imagination, the princess who wore fabulous clothes and kicked ass. But in real life, not so much. I realized my physical limitations once I joined the SCA. I was like, oh, I'm not an ass kicker. I am literally just here to like wear beautiful clothes and have fun. But I always loved history. I can't remember a time that in my life from like being a wee little Tulia that I didn't like just want to be immersed in this kind of, world of chivalry and ideals and I say magic. I mean, I'm not really meaning like actual like magical stuff, but the magic of all of that very idealized Victorian retelling of the medieval milieu. And so yeah, when I found it, the SCA through like first Ren Fair, I'd found out about it through Ren Fair when I was a kid. And then a high school friend, I think it was actually my first boyfriend, my very first boyfriend, when I was 15, was like, well, you like Ren Fair, you like the SCA? And I'm like, nah, they're dumb. They're sword carrying assholes. I know all about them. And he convinced me to go to my first event and I was sold. I was like, all of it, just, I buy it. I consume it. I bathe in it. This is who I am now. So yeah, I don't know. I just can't imagine a time that I didn't want to be a part of any of that, and this just gave me that outlet. So, Helga.
I was a rough and tumble kid. Oh my God, shocked face, I know. And we always played at stick fighting. Like there was always knights in shining armor and stick fighting and everything else like that. And so previous life experiences, pretty much I was born with the idea of this weird thing. I was never the princess to be saved. I was always the one that was like, either I'm the bad guy or I'm the one that's like gonna beat the shit out of everybody to get there. And so when I found the SCA, I was like, oh my God, it's a structured version of like all the weird games that I used to play with all my friends. Like, I'm in. Like, where do I sign up? And they were like, you need a miner's waiver. And I was like, I can forge my parents' signature, whatever. Like, I'm here. There's the paperwork. So yeah, like, in just beyond that, I was rough and tumble. So like, I led into heavy fighting real fast. Like, it was just, I found my home. And so, and LARPing at that point wasn't that big. Otherwise, I probably would have gotten into the LARPing too. And I had a little bit of Ren Fair experience and background, but it didn't like really speak to me because it was really effing expensive. Versus the SCA is not like the barrier to entry in the SCA is much lower. And it's something that I really love about the SCA. And I'm actually going to start a couple projects to see if I can like help keep that barrier lower for some of our newcomers. Because I think that's what keeps us so attractive is we have that like real big spans. And I was a poor kid. So yeah.
So apparently others had not heard of the sword carrying assholes acronym.
Oh, really?
Get this messaging in there. Apparently I made him spit out or choke on his beer. Yeah, I like there was a bunch of these acronyms that would go around Ren Fair, and that's how I learned all of them as a young impressionable preteen. You don't want to join the SCA. They're all just Society for Consenting Adults or Sword Carrying Assholes or like Satanic Cult of America. Like there were all, which actually is a different organization, by the way. But there's all these things. In fact, funny story about the Satanic Cult of America thing. I actually told a friend's mother. This was like right after I found the SCA, and I wanted to bring my friend to the SCA, but her mother was, very like Christian fundamentalist. And I was just like this, very naive, like, we're gonna go to this cool like medieval club. And she's like, what's it called? And I was like, it's called the Society for Creative Anachronism. It's SCA. And she's all, those are Satanists. And I remember being like 15 and being like, what? But it turns out that's a whole thing. It is actually this whole thing in certain types of or communities of Christian fundamentalism. It is actually a known or recognized satanic cult. At least it was in the 90s. I don't know if it's changed, but yeah. So yeah, that was funny. And then I got labeled the bad friend, which was hysterical because she was hanging out with like people doing drugs, and I'm like, I'm straight edge,
Oh,
yeah, my mom thought it was a little culty, but then she realized like that I could learn how to metalwork or weld or build whatever and sew and do all these art stuff. And so my mom is an artist, and that really spoke to her brain. But she still jokes around sometimes. She's like, "How's your cult?" I'm like, "It's great, Mom. I'm the princess."
I blame my mother all the time. Like I invited my mother to to my elevation, my Laurel elevation. And literally, kind of part of it was me turning around in the ceremony and being like, you're the reason this is happening. Also, I blame you for all of this. Because my mother saw this and was like, oh, Sarah's going to totally want this. And yes, myself as my mundane name, but like this is totally right up her alley. And she was not wrong. And she did it with us kids until I was 18. And then she basically said, you're an adult. Get out, do it. If you want to keep doing it, you're on your own. So anyways, we can move on to the next question.
Oh, the next question is yours.
Yes, and I apologize. Apparently tonight is going to be rambly. I'm going to try to reel that in.
Hey, we haven't had a drink for a warning from Baby Ninja yet, so
we're doing good.
True. Yeah. Okay, so this is also from Antonio. What advice would you give to a newer member who has had varied interests across the SCA spectrum and sees themselves drowning in choices about what to focus on first?
I think we have every opportunity to experiment and do whatever floats our boat and, flips our fancy. So, I'd say do the thing. I was accused of getting in too quick, too deep, too much service, too many arts to pick from. How dare I think about start fighting? Was I going to become a stoplight? Which, if you haven't heard the phrase stoplight in your kingdom, it is squire, protege, and Laurel student.
No, green, that's the green, yellow, and red.
And red.
Right, yeah, the belt.
So I was like, no, I don't know that I want to follow any of these with any seriousness. I just am enjoying the SCA to enjoy the SCA. I came from, a professional environment and / former waitress, so I could talk to anybody and do the thing. So jumping into service made sense. And I came from an arts background. Arts made sense. And then fighting a year later was like the one thing in the SCA that didn't make sense for me. It was the biggest challenge. So do all the things. I don't have any advice for a new person other than play within your means. Like, don't let the SCA be the thing that kills your savings account or, you know, makes you question whether or not you're going to be able to pay your rent next week. But, you know, if you have the wherewithal and the energy, do it. There's nothing stopping you here other than, you know, your own finances. So, and I do see some people totally go beyond that, and that's concerning to me, but that's really the only thing.
Helga?
All right. So my answer to this is do all the things. Have fun. The SCA is not so I have a feeling this is about to be a soapbox. I'm really sorry. The SCA isn't about the end all be all goal of becoming a peer. Being a peer, like typically you need to hyper focus on something and then you put your 10,000 hours in. You can put your 10,000 hours in across a spectrum. You just need to know that if you're seeking something, you probably need to specialize. If you're here to have fun, like if you're here just to like broad have fun, don't let somebody else define what feeds you and what keeps you there and active. Because that's when we fall to the ideas of other people. And so what I'm going to tell you is like what Mineko did, where she was just like, I'm going to do all the things because I can. Do all the things, have fun, do whatever feeds your soul, and jump from discipline to discipline to discipline if you need to. Like, I don't care. Be ADHD as all get out. What keeps you happy and here is actually what matters to me. And what matters to me as a peer is how can I support you in like continuing to have fun and jump around and like find what feeds you. Because also one of the things that we forget is that sometimes what we think our passion is not. And you don't get to be defined by what you chose to, what you choose to set down and let be in your past. Because you could get into pottery and you could be decent at pottery, but you realize that it's actually burning you out doing it. Cool, set it aside. Like, don't hammer on that one thing because you think it's going to get you somewhere. It's not feeding your soul, which is going to burn you out. It's going to tire you out, and it's going to make you hate what you're doing. So instead, jump ship, go find something else. The SCA is like this huge society of all the things. So go touch all the things, have fun, do all the things, and you can do it without any commitment. The stoplight comment, amusingly enough, I got a very similar comment when I started in the SCA. And I'll tell you that I didn't care because it wasn't like I wasn't hyper focusing on a goal. I was trying to figure out what fed me. So figure out what feeds you and, walk away when you need to and come back to whatever you need to and go from there. Like, that's one of the coolest things about what we do. You can be a novice for the rest of your life in something and still be just as celebrated.
True story.
So I'm taking notes over here. Like I have like all of these little weird notes as I'm over here like scribbling. But
drink.
So
it's right.
Look at the baby. You need to get a better light.
See, he is just a void with eyeballs.
A little void. Look at his little face. Okay.
Also, sit.
I can't really say much more than what Mineko and Helga put down, but I do know that the SCA is one of these places that if you're a creative type, you walk into it and you're like, holy shit, all the things, and it gets really overwhelming. And if you're like me, who is actually diagnosed with ADD, that can cause a lot of anxiety because you don't know what to focus on at any given time. There's so many things happening. So my advice comes from that point of view, which is, yeah, absolutely. You don't have to be locked into anything. If you are, whether or not you're brand new to the SCA or you've been in for like 30 years or whatever, you don't have to be locked into any one particular thing. You can always change it up. You can always find something else that grabs you. You can always evolve. And you should. That's my opinion, is that you should always be on this path of intellectual and creative evolution. But, at the same time, know your limits and know your boundaries, know where you need to take a step back. If somebody is, say, for instance, we have this term called you get thrown under the bus, or you get voluntold to do things. And especially like eager newcomers who are, just ready to dive in and gonna just go whole hog, they can oftentimes end up burning out really spectacularly very early on, because we see your value and we want to encourage that enthusiasm, and we also see where your skills and your enthusiasm can be applied into this area. And we, meaning, us people that have been in the SCA for a long time, need to really be careful with that, because that can lead to overwhelming newcomers who don't really know that they can say no. They don't know that they have boundaries that they can enforce, and all of that is okay. So be a dilettante, embrace the, like this, ooh, shiny, ooh, this thing's shiny, or I want to volunteer for this thing. And embrace all of those things, enjoy it, revel in it. When something really grabs you, go deep, go hard and deep. A thing that will, leap up and inspire you and grab you by, the shoulders and shake you and say, this is what we're doing for like the next 5 years. That's wonderful. And if that doesn't happen, that's also cool. You can just continue to learn how to do this activity and this activity and this activity and this activity. And there's room for all of it in the SCA. But I do think my main advice, though, for newer people is literally just enforce your boundaries, understand that you can't necessarily do all the things though you want to. And then if you reach a point where you're like, shit, I did all the things, or I'm being committed to all the things, whether because I'm over committing myself or others are throwing me under the bus, it's okay to say, no, I need to take time for myself. I need to refocus and, kind of look it up. So I guess that counts as a soapbox.
Yeah, I think that was like, everybody drink. That was soapbox.
Yeah. So.
Okay. So the next one comes from Sophia. And I just tripped right over her name super hard.
Because you tried to say Stevie and Sophia.
Yeah, I totally, my brain was like, these two things meld.
Sophia.
I thought you said Sabia for a second there, so it didn't even catch my ear. I'm like, oh, Sabia sent in a message. No, that's not what happened.
No, this is totally Stevie in her badassness. What is your absolute necessity to survive Pennsic?
My absolute necessity to survive Pennsic. The barony of Bacale is my absolute necessity to survive Pennsic. We are very fortunate in that the former Baron and Baroness of Bacale came out to Australia one year, and we hosted them, and it became, thanks to Dionysia and Frambald, a very mutual relationship in which we stayed with them. I've never camped in my kingdom. I love them to death, but I love wars for visiting friends from afar. And so I've always camped either in Bacale, and one year I was hosted by Morningwood, my first Pennsic. But the barony of Bacale Michael puts up this huge, Milowan, I should use his SCA name, so I'm gonna drink for that. Puts up a huge tent, and they basically made us these awesome condos in which we can throw a cot in our cooler and stuff. And I don't know how I would survive Pennsic without the barony. So shout out to the East Kingdom Barony of Bacale, because you're awesome and we love you.
Nice.
I've never been to Pennsic, so I'm honestly just, this is kind of, tell me, give me advice.
If you want a real one, Gold Bond in a stick. Which is the friction E stuff. It's amazing and a necessity because, sorry, Pennsic, but you're chafy.
Yeah. I've heard like from my what should I say? My male friends, those that possess of a certain external organ, that the powder is really important, but the stick I can completely understand.
As a female, like I wear little like tie shorts or linen shorts and like barely T-tunics most of Pennsic.
Yeah.
There's nothing fancy about my Pennsic garb.
Yeah. I'm going to be texting my wonderful boyfriend for a new cocktail refreshment. So,
as one does.
Yes. Helga, what's your advice for someone like me who has never been to Pennsic?
Okay, well, my first one is hang around with my Wonder Twin. You're going to get into some adventures. That is like... that is a must-have for Pennsic. The second one is I'm gonna I'm going to second Mineko. I'm actually going to say the monkey butt stick is better than Gold Bond. But the other one is you're going to need to pack anywhere from, oh my God, I am wearing the most see-through thing because I can legally get away with it, all the way down to always take a wool tunic.
Oh, I always bring a coat to Penzig. Whether I put it on or not, I have a coat and like a fur hat.
Yeah,
also,
always take a coat and the lightest thing. Like, you need to take the spectrum and you need to treat it like a really, really just sweaty Estrella, actually. Like, if you added, like, we're just going to take all the water bearers' sweat, all the fighter sweat, and all the water that, like, everybody brings in containers, and we're just going to put it in the air, and it's going to hang there. That is what Penzig is, and it smells the same, too.
But your hair and skin look great, so it's
fine.
your
hair and skin look amazing the entire time, but you are going to sweat through every tunic you own. Deodorant is kind of fucking optional at that point because everybody's just used to sweating right through everything. And then it will go from blazingly like sweaty hot with 98% humidity to like Australia levels cold, still 98% humidity. Like, that's how to actually, like, go into shock, and it happens. So take your lightest, take your heaviest.
I really want to go to Penzig really badly, but I've had so many people who know how poorly I react to heat and humidity in vast quantities be like, you're going to hate it. You're going to die. You're literally going to walk on site, and you're going to just melt into a puddle of just the most pathetic Tulia, and you're going to be that way for 2 solid weeks. You'll hate it. And I'm like...
So go for
2 solid weeks.
Yeah, what I would say is go for a week. The 2 weeks is like you acclimate after about a week. But like going for a week, if you really, really hate it, it's that week is relatively short enough that you can go have fun. Also, I will say, Tulia, for you, I'm going to say the number one option that you need to bring is a battery-powered tent fan.
That's what I was going to say.
Like, if you hate humidity, that's actually what saves you from humidity because it gets it to move versus just like staying there like a wet rag.
Because shade is broken.
Yeah, shade doesn't work there.
Oh, that's icky. Yeah. Well, so my thing normally is just like literally douse my tunic in water and watch it evaporate. Just keep wet. Stay wet.
Yeah.
Doesn't work that way. I will say also have like your most comfortable like hiking or like squishy walking shoes, because you'll be like, I'm gonna wear my Bohemians all week. My Bohemians are the most comfortable shoes I own. And then by like day 4, you're like, fuck it, I'm gonna put on my, Colhan Zero, whatever hiking shoes or whatever you have. So you're like, I just needed like an insole. But I have insoles in my Bohemians, so I usually do wear them all week. But yeah, some days you're just like, no, I just need tennis shoes.
I have a feeling like it would be like my Tiva flip-flops.
Yes, that works too.
Like, this is as good as it gets, guys. My little linen tunic and Tivas. Yeah. All right, so we got a question submitted in the chat. Helga, do you wanna?
Yeah, no, I'll totally tackle this. However, before that, what I'm going to say is, if we hit over 100 likes tonight while we are still on air, I will put my German Shepherd in my lap for as long as he will tolerate. So there's the challenge. Likes for treats. Also, German Shepherd on camera with me trying to talk over those radar ears. So. There we go. So the question that got submitted that we've decided to just add right now is, this one comes from Casca. Respectfully, if someone has one peerage, do they automatically get a pass on behavior when being considered for another peerage?
Not in my world. Not in my world, because I think that oftentimes, and I won't say oftentimes, sometimes, how about that? Sometimes people can put it on for as long as it takes to get the first peerage, and then maybe ill behavior rears its ugly head after that. I don't think anybody gets a pass in our hobby, whether it's a royal or a peer, a knight, pelican, mod, anybody. I think that we all have to maintain our diligence with our peer-like qualities. I'm not saying that we can't have fun and say fuck a lot and make wizard staff with Estrella. That's our camp. But yeah, no, I don't think we get passes. I think as long as we're kind people, I think a lot of times I heard that, you know, when I got my first peerage, like, well, you'll never have to worry about your peer-like qualities because it just automatically comes with your title. I'm like, no, it doesn't.
No, that is...
I can be a super cunt and really rude to people. Just because I'm a mistress of the Pelican doesn't mean I get a pass on becoming a knight or a laurel. That's not how my brain works, and I don't think that's how we should review people. I think that anybody has the opportunity to be a super asshole, and we should hold them accountable.
Mm-hmm. I'm 100% on that, you know, mic drop kind of right there. Yeah, no, I here's the hard part. Yes, I've seen this happen. I have in fact seen this happen where people can keep their shit together long enough to get elevated to one peerage, and that just at that point they have the peerage and then they can go on, drop the facade, be shitty. Everybody's like, no, that's just so and so. They're just abrasive, you know. But and really, they're just fucking toxic. Oh my God, that makes me so mad. So mad when people say that about other peers. I'm like, we shouldn't say that about anybody, let alone, I mean, especially a peer. But I have seen it happen, and it is infuriating every single time it occurs. I, you know, try not to be super judgy because, yeah, people may be going through things in their lives and it may not reflect well in their day-to-day behavior because of external factors. But if this is a pattern of behavior that is something that has gone on for decades, and this person just keeps raking in more and more peerages, there's a problem with that I have. However, I am not the queen of the SCA, so I really only get to say what I, you know, really honestly feel about candidates in my own peerage. And I do look really hard, especially if a candidate comes through that has another peerage. You know, they should be an exemplar when it comes to PLQs by default. That's the peer-like qualities, PLQs. We shouldn't be having to drill down really, really hard into the peer-like qualities discussion when it comes to a candidate. If they already have a peerage, like ideally they should have that thing dialed in. But if we're having these conversations about like, well, you know, but they're kind of abrasive, and that's where I'm just like, yeah, okay, well, if this person weren't already a peer, would we still be considering them? Like, let's be honest, like that conversation. It rarely happens in my experience, but I have seen it happen. So I, you know, it's one of those things that it's not hella common, but it does happen. But yeah, it shouldn't, you should not get a pass just for being a peer when you're getting considered for another peerage. Like, in fact, you should be held to an even higher standard than.
No, yeah, and I just have a follow-up to that.
Yep.
It's not everybody has to get along. We don't all have to like each other. I have recommended people for peerage that I don't personally like. They're not my cup of tea, and I certainly don't expect everybody to like me because I know I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I mean, I'm a generally friendly person, but you know, it's I have a lot of personality quirks. I'm kind of loud and I can get into these conversations, but it's not even a like thing. It's just some people are rude and they treat people around them terribly. You know, how many times have we been up at a gate or a list as fighters, you know, and someone is just being terrible and heinous to the new guy that doesn't know why they're being asked the question or whatever it is. So yeah.
I'm thinking about like a specific instance with, you know, in our kingdom, this was years ago, where there was a peer that, you know, up here, not naming names, not naming peerages, but they came in after a long break and walked in and was like, you see this medallion? This means I do everything and anything I want to do. And that might have flown like 40 years ago. It really does not fly in the day.
Well, in that day and age, they are also getting peerages after like 3 events. So
yeah, exactly. Like, okay, so you got elevated in like, you know, 1970. Good for you. The standards were a lot lower then. Sorry, but they were. But that does not, especially does not give you the right to walk in and be abusive to, you know, people that are lower ranking than you. And so that's one of those things that like I don't see it a lot, but I've seen these very glaring instances where that's come out, and yeah, for sure, it definitely is.
I just want to interrupt real quick, Sarah. I promise I'm
Nope.
not laughing at you. There
You
might
sit there, though.
be the sound of a lake appearing, and we have discovered the puppy
Yeah.
really likes splashing in the water
That's what
and assaulting a certain individual. So I'm going to answer this one after I save somebody else from 40 pounds of high velocity love muffin.
But you're also got to drink because you said her name
you
that
called
wasn't Tulia.
Damn it! Sorry.
Password. But yeah, like just to sum up here, that the being a peer, and if you're being considered for another peerage order, you should be being held to a higher standard already. Like
Or just the standard. The standard is fine. It doesn't even have to be higher.
Yeah, a standard, some standard. No, I mean I say higher standard only because we talk about the baseline standard with the PLQs, like this, are they meeting like these expectations? But if you're already a peer, you've got to be a notch above that. Like you gotta be on point. And yeah, you can have shitty days and you can have shitty months. I mean, fuck, I have, but at the end of the day, I don't want this to be like a thing where we all just know that master so and so is just kind of a cranky old bastard and kind of shitty to people, but he does really good work. That's what I don't want to get seen or hear. I don't want to hear that conversation unless there's a way to address it and make it better. But
So with that,
I gave him his phone.
Okay, are you safe? Oh no, you are not safe. You are totally not safe. I'm gonna
answer the question.
Okay, apparently I'm answering the question, and she is just dealing with a puppy. I'm sorry. So to answer this question is, I'm going to agree with everybody. You should be a notch above. And the reason why I say you should be a notch above is when you get your first peerage, you learn what being a peer is. And you relearn that pressure, and you learn the expectations around it. Also, the world goes silent. So you go from everybody touching you and being like, "You're doing so good. Just keep doing what you're doing, and let me tell you, keep going. And we really want to be involved in you making it and everything else like that." And then the world goes dead. The moment you're made a peer, it goes quiet. And that is what actually makes or breaks peer-like qualities, is because now you're not getting the social reinforcement that you are doing the thing correctly. And so you must stand on your own. It's kind of like when the baby bird learns to fly. However, in the SCA, we kind of slingshot our students out from like, oh, all the touching and all the love to pew, you're now an independent human. Don't get eaten by the sharks. And if your peer-like qualities survive that, I expect more. If you are getting your second peerage, your third peerage, your fourth peerage, like there is more to who and what you are because you represent multiple orders and you have already gone through the fire. Like, here you go again. If you're a shitty human being after being made a peer the first time, I wish we could revoke it like old people with driver's licenses. Like, if your peer-like qualities do not survive you becoming a peer, go fuck off.
yeah, but that doesn't work in reality. We don't.
Oh, I really wish it did. It is like my one thing. It is totally my one thing where I'm just like, oh, I'm sorry. Did you getting slapped turn you into a douchebag? We made a mistake. Revoke.
Yeah.
Like that's something that I wish we could change about the SCA is that it would be actually easier to be like, oh, fuck, we need to have a breakup.
It's like the same guys that clean up their calibration just long enough to get knighted, and then they go back to their
and they go back to being douchebags.
Like they played the game just well enough. Congrats.
Those are what we consider the emotional checkbox peers.
Yeah.
So that's my relatively hard thing.
I like
on
it when they disappear.
Yep. And so that's actually my harsh take on it is that if you go through the fire of being a peer, it should make you better. And when you hit that silence, it is a hard thing. But again, it should reinforce your PLQs, not remove them. If it removes them, you still feel owed.
Yeah.
So with that, I'm going to save the Lady of the Lake.
She's like, I'm going to stab your dog.
She says, move over.
Yay! It's the Lady of the Lake.
Oh, I like this. Top 5. Who do you want to hug when we have events again?
You, Alice, you.
I love my Lady of the Lake.
I have to pick 5. All right. I think I can do this. Only 5. This is so hard. I know this is really hard. I'm friends with people. I'm gonna go with Excellency Mistress Sabia, formerly of Triscathir, now of the Outlands, because now there's 2 Sabias in Triscathir, or in Alberon, and it gets confusing. And her sister, Countess Mariana. So I'm gonna get a twofer of twins. And God, so many good hugs out there. I'm gonna need a second to think of my other 3 because I want to be really thoughtful about this. But those are my top 2 right now, the twins.
Okay, and also I'm going to tell you guys real quick what was cracking me up so bad. She put the veil on so she could have her coronet on, and the puppy was like, "We play tuggy?" And so she is sitting down here, and both of us are wrestling shark face, like trying not to, and he is just like, "Elm, elm, 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 elm," and like he's being gentle about it, but he has little needle teeth, and it's her veil, so it's just tangling. He looks like a cat stuck to Velcro.
So you know what? Having recently had kittens that are now kind of slightly mellowing out, I completely understand. Oh, that youth phase.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna keep on then. I think that was enough. So yeah. I get this hug though currently because Sir Nikita is part of my quarantine. We grocery shop together. We're the hunter-gatherers of our 2 couples. So I still get those hugs, but I don't care. I'm gonna still get that hug even after that. So that's 3. Yeah. Count Casca and his wife Melissa.
They count as 1. Oh, I think they should count as a single unit. I think they count as a single unit. So you can. I mean,
okay. So I get like a buffer 1.
Yeah.
Oh God, that totally. Then I mean, if I get couples, then let's throw in Ferris in there, who is Sabia's husband, because they're great huggers.
Good.
Those are my people. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are very offended that like hugging me, and I'm sorry about that.
Really, you asshole.
I'm sorry.
I love you. I'll be back. I gotta take the puppy outside.
I'm so sorry. Okay, well, I'll answer this. Let's see. I would say, actually, who was it in the comments? Asia said exactly what I was thinking, which is like the first 5 people I encounter who say yes when asked if they would like to hug. Like that's literally what I'm going to be at the gate, and I'm just going to be like, can we? And if they're like, yes, and then, yes, oh my God, I don't care if I know you. I don't care if we're buddies. Like, I don't care. I'm going to be so excited to be back. But I mean, if I had to rename like actual people, let's see, I would name Alice, the Lady of the Lake, because I love her to pieces and I haven't gotten a hug in months. And then Ciela, because she would kill me if I wasn't. This is in no particular order, by the way. Right. And let's see, who else? God, I'm just like trying to think, like Francisco. My buddy Francisco would for sure be on that list. God, this is really hard because it's like, yeah, I mean, you would hug your buddies, right? You would want to hug them, but also you just want to hug everybody. That's me. I am actually a hugger, which is also why I'm not putting Kinhild on this list because she's not really a hugger. But
I'm not like a super hugger, but there are some people that like come up and give me that back crack too. That's that bonus moment. Sir Zipser from upstairs would like to give his personal hug shout out to Mistress Maymuna of the Outlands, who gives 15-second restorative hugs, and they're fucking delightful.
Oh, that's lovely. I love that idea. Yeah. Let's see. Who else? Yeah, it's hard. It literally would be like, kind of like the first 5 people that I see, like it's going to be long and awkward and it's consensual. Like, I don't care who you are. But yeah, I don't know. It's really, really hard to actually name. Yeah, actually, Dobrushka, I would hug the shit out of you if you consent to it. She's in the comments, like, being fabulous. I know, look at all of us, and she had her Maggie mug with her as well. So
I did, I've gotten a lot of enjoyment when I've seen my pottery like make its way to faces on all these shows. So I'm like, I'm gonna carry my Dabroshka mug.
Yeah. Let's see. My apprentice. Oh, she's definitely up there. Asa. She would, and she's a great hugger. She's actually, you know what's great about, okay, this is going to sound really kind of sexually objectifying, but being short and getting hugged by women is very comfy. You just like, you have like a nice little like shelf, like cozy.
That's why I like Sabia and Mariana. They're like tall, and I'm only 5'5", so it's like,
Yeah, it's just this nice, like, oh, this is comfortable.
it's the most platonic, non.
It's well, I think it's almost like primal in a way. It's like, you know, you're a little primate who is like the big mama primate.
And it's like the
Not that I think
loving people. I love loving, like, caring people like that. They're just, because my emotional range can be really small. Like, there's humor and sarcasm, and sometimes like I get angry, but there's not like, I don't have that like, oh, like, come here, my
yeah.
sweet little muffin, let me take care of you. Like, here, take some Tylenol, you'll figure it out.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, like slap some, you know, rub some dirt in it.
I brought Band-Aids. I don't know. You'll have to do them yourself.
Asia, who I'm using her mundane name again, and I'm sorry, sweetie, I did not remember your SCA name until you were like, it's Marjorie, god damn it. So I got a drink for this, but and you're on the list too. So yeah. Anyways, so okay, so let's kill some time because we've got puppy stuff that's happening. Anybody got any? I was going to say, anybody got any questions in the comments that they want to just fire in, like rapid fire, or I can randomly pick one that we can throw in. Or, you know, we could do the interpretive dance section of the evening. I'm sorry, what was that? Oh, favorite. Okay, so Baby Ninja says favorite non-fighting event to attend.
See, this is a totally bullshit cheater answer because there's fighting day 2, but it's Alberon Midwinter in the Outlands. I freaking love Midwinter. It's the day that we get to see Zipster's family pre-Christmas. It's a great like hangout all day, like feasting event. And then the next day is the best war practice. I freaking love Alberon's war practice. It's my brotherhood is all there, and we get to reckon. We're just aside. It's great. Yeah.
Helga, it looks like you have a story to tell.
Oh, yes. it is having a 3-month-old puppy that has not been socialized and or has no recall and is like in the process of learning that there are boundaries of where you pee.
Oh. I woke up this morning, to a like toddler level barf situation on the couch from my old man cat.
Oh, no.
Like that much vomit should never come out of anybody. But yeah, so that's what, joys of pet ownership, right? Anyways, so Helga, we were talking about like favorite non-fighting event that you would go to.
Oh, favorite non-fighting event? Shit, there's a feast in Kaid, Starkoff and Yule. Which has been super fun. Also, the SCA Arts Fair was amazing.
What do you mean? You're talking about the West Kingdom?
When they did like the fair where it was divided into streets and everybody set up their pavilions. That was really, really cool. That was a very immersive experience.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to actually say that one. So several years ago, Countess Alishka and group of people that she got together did put on this really cool arts fair. It was the West Kingdom, I think it was called the West Kingdom Arts Fair. And it was intended to be like a conceptual event, like to prove that a non-fighting, art-centered 3-day event could be successful. And she knocked that shit out of the park. Her and her team, like, it was one of the coolest events I've ever been to. And they did this whole cool layout, which was, they called it, I think it was Town Fair. That's what it was called.
Town Fair.
Because it was centered around this idea of like an Italian, city center with the square, and then all the major streets in the 4 quadrants kind of branching off of it. And it was just this wonderful inspirational thing. And we've we kind of replicated it for West Kingdom 50-year celebration. It would be really cool to see this happen again, but it was a huge undertaking. And Alishka was like, I can't do this like all the time, guys. But it would be really cool to see that happen again. But for me, my answer is actually going to be the perfectly period feasts. They circulate around the kind of like West, Kaid, and Antir, where they're just hyper researched, very specific timeline. Like, this event happens in the year, or it happens in like, July 17th, 1562 in London. And we're all going to dress like Londoners in that era and talk about, be in persona and eat the food that would be eaten at this time and hear the music. And it's just an incredibly immersive thing. And they switch around throughout I hate to say this because I've gotten yelled at before, but I think there's other kingdoms now that are doing these things, but that for sure it's the West, Antir, and Kaid trade off every couple of years. They all kind of circulate this. The next one that's slated to happen is supposed to happen in the West, Oertha, up in Alaska. They're hosting it. It's going to be a Viking feast, 10th century, 9th, 10th century. I'm sure Kinhild will correct me on this, but super, super immersive. Like, I'm so looking forward to it. They found a long haul that they're going to use for this Viking long haul. We're all going to, hang out, and it's going to be so cool. It's really, but yeah, those are my favorite non-fighting events. Yeah. Anyways.
Sorry about that interlude, guys.
Yeah, that's okay. This was us just killing time. Do we want to do a commercial and move on, or we want to do another question?
I want to hear who Helga wants to hug.
Casca, Miss, Mineko, you, Valora. Oh my god, my list just got super, super complicated really quick because I had time to chase a puppy around a backyard. Shit. Can I only hug 5?
No, well, that's the thing. For top 5.
We got to combine Casca and Miss as a couple for mine.
Okay, Casca and Miss are one hug.
Yeah, couples count as one hug.
That is a lot of hug right there. Casca and Miss.
My back is better already.
Bela from the Outlands. Brennan from the East. I'm gonna go with the pack of girls is all one hug. Like, that's just one violent hug right there. Amusingly enough, locally, I'm gonna go with Leotolf because he has been one of my buddies for so long, and I really miss interacting with him. He is one of the people that I tried to emulate in being a knight, and he has become one of my very dear friends, and it kills me that I can't see him.
Yeah,
he's a good dude.
Yeah,
big fan. Yeah.
Also, the slowest fake of your life that you will bite on every goddamn time.
I was gonna say, I would say he's a fun fight, but it's the opposite. Like, it's fun, but it's like the most frustrating thing because it's so slow that you're like, why is this hitting me? It's so stupid.
Also, I would say not just a fighter, an incredibly good embroiderer. Like, this guy is like, his work, his art is really great. So yeah, multifaceted human. He's a good dude. So, all right. Do we want to go to a break, or we want to answer another question? I think we're coming up on roughly past that time.
Yeah. Well, why don't the next one we're totally going to soapbox on.
Okay, so let's go to how about this? Let's go to the break, and Tulia can go to the bathroom, and then
I'm gonna go whether I have to or not. Spoiler alert, because that's how I roll.
Yep, girl.
I like how my puppy missed the commercial break by like 5 minutes.
Yeah, well, when you gotta go, you gotta go. All right, I sympathize. All right.
Hey, you out there. Do you love learning things about gaming?
We've got that.
What about interviews with knights? tactical war advice, or practical guidance on how to be better on and off the field.
Yep, we've got that.
What about history? Crazy tales from wizened kings of old? Stories of grace from the roses of inspiration?
Yeah, got that too.
What about opinions? Caffeine? Or just amazing chats with some awesome people?
You bet.
What about book breakdowns, deep dives, and some serious toe bean touching?
Oh yeah, all this and more.
Here at Cowboy's Corner and KK Productions, we specialize in getting you the premium content that you need and deserve.
But wait, do you have an idea for a show? Always wanted to dive into creating content for your fellow medieval enthusiasts? Guess what? We do that too.
Check out all that we have to offer, either on Cowboy's Corner or any of our affiliated channels. Or reach out to us with your ideas. Let's make them happen.
Don't forget to like and subscribe on all our channels. Smash the like button below. And of course, show the Sassy Seamstress and Danger Muppet your love.
I am Calvert Geiler, and I approve this message.
Bedlam Bazaar offers tunics made for hero and goddess sizes, starting at extra large and going up to as much as 5XL. We do embroidery of every kingdom and populous device, peerages, officers, and many war patches in full edge-to-edge embroidery. What's special about edge-to-edge embroidery, you ask? There's no exposed material with minimal embroidery or fraying edges sticking out all around the edges. You get 100% full embroidery with clean edges. And we even do custom orders with anything you want on it at the lowest prices in the industry. We have done patches, reusable journal covers, tote bags, reusable grocery bags, hats, caps, beanies, and even on the sides of shoes and boots. You are only limited by your imagination and what items will fit onto a commercial embroidery machine, even if they aren't flat. Visit us today online at bedlambazaar.com or on Facebook at Bedlam Bazaar.
Two Baronesses is your home for buttons, brooches, pins, winnengas and hooks, mittens, scarves, and custom appliqued heraldic tabards and gonfalons. You can even buy buttons in bulk for large projects, perfect for the cotehardy or household livery. You can find them online at badbaroness.com. That's badbaroness.com. Happy shopping!
Okay. So we're back. Miss Sassy, I'm assuming question number 4 is yours.
Are we only at number 4?
Yeah. I mean, I did have the emergency puppy run.
No, it's the persona question. That is right. Okay, and we had that random one that we inserted and all of this stuff. Okay, so this is from Antonio. As someone who has never declared a specific persona, do you feel that there is worth in them for those who know that, for those that want to try things from across the various times within our period?
You just repeat that one more time.
Yeah, I know. I got very weird. As someone who has never declared a specific persona, do you feel that there is worth in them for those that want to try things from across the various times within our period? I think, yeah, it's yeah.
Yes, I think there is absolutely worth in personas. If that is your jam and you love diving down that research hole and wearing all your super appropriate accessories because they're freaking awesome, then by all means. I mean, Zipster has gotten into Thracian recently, and I think it's phenomenal. And you'll probably see me wearing a lot more of it for the future days in which we get to reign, because it's a really easy to wear and very comfortable but beautifully ornamented persona. But just because it's not for me, I'm definitely not going to begrudge somebody else their kink on research and doing the right thing. I love people that are into that. I wish I had that. but I don't. I'm a time floating butterfly.
I learned the word dilettante, and sometimes it's used a little disparagingly, but I love it, and I think that that's a beautiful way of explaining somebody who just like you say, like a butterfly, flits from one thing to the
I
next.
try and accessorize properly depending on what I'm wearing, but like I said, this tunic has floated between Viking and Slavic and Middle Eastern because it's my jack of all trades tunic. By the way, I've got snacks. I'm treating like we're hanging out at a bar right now. I've taken off my coat. We're in for this. We're doing the thing.
Helga.
I was about to take a sip. So I'm going to say that I do not have a specific persona. I try to make sure that I match my fiddly bits with the tunic I'm wearing. So if I'm doing Slavic, I'm trying to wear my Slavic jewelry. If I'm doing, Rus, I'm trying to match those things. If I'm doing German, then I'm going to be in all of my late period German stuff. But I'll tell you that, like, if you want to try different personas, try different personas. Like, we're going to go right back to my first soapbox of the evening and be like, have goddamn fun with whatever feeds your like whimsy. Like, do the thing. Like, you want to have like 10 different perfect personas? Great. However, do not expect me to memorize 10 different names. You get one name. Beyond that, I give no fucks. Does it get your rocks off? Does it get your SCA rocks off? Go do it.
Yeah. So I was a person who really wanted to drill down in like to one thing. Like, I want my name, my persona, my clothes, my camp, like all of my accessories to all be within a very specific and narrow time frame. And I did that for years. And it's wonderful. Like, I can't shit on it too hard. Because it's actually really cool to be able to be like, all of this stuff I'm surrounded by and I'm wearing and I'm, identifying myself with. It's all within a specific era. It's all within a specific period, and it feels very real. But in more recent years, I've drifted away from that. It got very, I guess it got like I got burnt out with it. I think that was really the hard thing, because the infrastructure that went along with Tulia Allori, the 16th century Italian courtesan, was a lot more than I really wanted to invest in. And when I say invest in, it's mostly like I didn't want to put up the crap in camp. Like, we had this giant pavilion that had all of this infrastructure that it took us like 8 hours to set up. And not even kidding. And I was so blown by the time that I got to camp and like set things up, and just exhausted by it. And then the next thing I know, I crash into bed and I have to wake up. I have to put a corset on and a huge gown, and I got my fake hair and all of this stuff. I did that for many, 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 many years. And I finally just was like, I'm kind of over all of that. I'm having a lot more fun exploring more comfortable styles. I'm having more fun engaging with the SCA on a social level, rather than like I'm going to present the most authentic visage that you will ever see level. Like, I went through this weird, like, I guess in a lot of ways it's kind of, I hate to call it a regression, but I think a lot of people join the SCA and are like, I'm not very authentic and I'm going to work my way towards authenticity. I went through like hardcore authenticity, and now I'm like, I don't really care about that stuff anymore. Like, go you if you really are into it. It's cool. I care about the things that I care about, which is if I'm talking about like research or education or mentoring, like those things are really, really important to me. But if my kit or your kit is not 100% accurate, like, I don't give a shit. Are you having fun? Are you where you need to be at any given time? Like, that's fine. So the whole idea of personas, and I'm going to also kind of go back to this other thing. In the West Kingdom, we don't really do personas. Like, it's not, so the Western Rite kingdoms, that's Atenveld, Caid, Antir, West, like, we probably also a little bit Artemisia, Like we're not really people that are hella like invested in like, oh well, this is the one thing that you do and that's all you do, and that your name is that, your dress is that, your camp is that, and that's it. We're like, I'm Arwen Dream Stomper, I don't care, you know. Like, that's, we pick a name, you put clothes on your body, you show up to an event, like you're good, you know. And so what if you want to go deep into a persona hole, like a little rabbit hole, you want to go way down deep in that, again, I say hard and deep. You want to go hard and deep in that, cool, go you, support you 100%. But it is not really a requirement. It is not really something that is culturally done in this Western part of the United States. So
I'm also going to say that Maggie just said soapbox in the house.
sorry. I did.
Yeah, that's when I pointed and drank, but I'm going to drink for the soapbox part.
I'm also going to jump back into this one for a moment, so Baby Ninja might say something about our time. Is if somebody's jumping from time period to time period or persona to persona, especially when they're new, fucking let them. Like, this again goes right back to that first rant of like, let people fucking find what makes them happy, and don't nitpick. You know, I started out literally in like plaid PJ pants, and horse leg wraps, because that's what I had. And so when people are bounding from persona to persona, and trying to figure it out, it's not something to ever look down on them about. Maybe they're trying to find what fits them. I don't do 14th century because I don't think that it fits my body style really well. It doesn't make me feel sexy. And that took like 2 years to figure out.
Which is cute because actually you look really cute in it.
I feel much better now that I'm like in my adult body. My teenage body did not fit it. Like
you wore it during your stepping up this last reign that you did. Or stepping down.
I would like to note that dress is sexy as fuck.
It is, and it was beautiful, and you look beautiful in it. And so, like,
you have to find someone that can fit you. You have to find that magical seamstress. You know, I never thought I would wear a Venetian, and then I met Duchess Cassandra, and she's like, bitch, I'm going to make you look amazing, and you're going to like it, and your waist is going to be this big, and she did it, and it was phenomenal, and I applaud her tailoring skills.
All right.
Short-waisted and long-legged, and I've got shoulders like this.
Yeah, me too.
Urzabeta and Elsie made me German dresses that I get into, and I'm just like, I'm a fucking god right now.
You were beautiful in those German dresses. You did really good in those.
And so that's one of the things that I wanted to point out to people is if people are jumping from period to period, and they may not be doing it to like your authenticity level, maybe they're trying to figure out if that's what makes them comfortable within the SCA before they invest in all the fiddly bits. Because like Rus and Slavic and a lot of those earlier time periods are made with the fiddly bits. It's not really the tunic. It's the very expensive fiddly bits that like make that like next level jump. And that's really hard to kind of break into, especially when you're trying to figure it out. And so give people leeway to play.
And you can just go to Linen Garb and buy beautiful tunics and pants and go to Bohemian and get your boots on. And you know, you don't have to even sew or spend a fortune on clothes. You can create your entire wardrobe with Merchant's Row, and that's awesome too. One of my favorite tunics I stole from Adamar, and it's a Linen Garb tunic, and it's like the best thing ever. Thanks, Adamar. Thanks, Linen Garb. But it was just totally like, I was like, that green must live with me. I totally pulled to Adrian, and I was like, I'm going to take this out of your bag and put it on. You can't stop me. But yeah.
And I do think that there may be a little bit of interkingdom anthropology in this question that is not like really apparent, because I do know that there are some kingdoms out there that do put a heavy emphasis. Baby Ninja really needs to contribute, so I'm gonna let Baby already is. Yeah. Right. So that's the thing, is there are kingdoms in there, usually the more easternly kingdoms. And as I point that way, because east is that way where I live. Yeah, like there's more easterly kingdoms that are very much into this idea of like, you are the thing, and you go deep in that, and you really get into it, and you have your persona backstory, and all these things, and I weirdly enough, growing up on the fringe, thought that this was how it was supposed to be done as well. It wasn't until I joined the mainstream West Kingdom group when I came out of the fringe. Like, imagine me coming out of like the swampy mists of the forest or something, and I'm like, what do I do after 7 years in the swamp? Actually, the fringe is not a swamp, just saying. But yeah, like, I got scooped up by people who were more mainstream, and they were basically like, okay, little girl, what do you want to do? And I'm like, well, I am a 13th century Toulousian, daughter of a wool merchant. And they're like, what? What? Wait, what? Like, and I'm talking to peers, by the way, peers who are like, who what are you doing? And I'm like, but yes, I am a 13th century Toulousian wool merchant's daughter who is secretly a Albigensian, and they're like, we don't do that.
Hey, but we've got an award for people that do here.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
freaking damn great. You're gonna get recognized for it, and it's amazing. I mean,
they don't have one in the West.
No, we do. We do. We actually have a soft kit and a hard kit award.
No, but that's kit. That's not persona. That's not persona. Persona. Like,
okay, I'm sorry. I now need to win crown so we can change that, because I'm gonna this is gonna be our weird soapboxy one of the evening where we all go back and forth for a minute until Baby Ninja is like, motherfuckers, move on. But yeah, he's holding up a timer on his phone. He's like, you guys have been at this 5.5 minutes.
Is this a drinking point?
Yeah, that is a drinking point.
Yeah, no, we have pilgrims, right? Like, we have like Countess Isabella, who's like the epitome of 12th century. She always dresses 12th century. It's fucking amazing and beautiful. And bless her, she's got the sleeves down to here, and it's stunning. That's her jam. When Zippy was here, he was that. No matter what he wore, Greek or 14th century, it's just, there's those people, and it's amazing, and I love it. But it's not me. Mm-hmm. I don't think I'll ever be that thing.
So I'm getting told,
and that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So as far as I know, the West Kingdom doesn't have a persona specific award. We've got like, you look really good, or, when you fight, or you look really good when you're wearing clothes, and your camp is really rad. Like, we have those 3 awards, but we don't have you're really great at persona research and you really inhabit your whole thing. And yeah, we don't do that. So
I think that's something that actually might be worth changing, because like, where I'm not persona specific, I absolutely adore people that get like, and this is not derogatory, but it's the only way I have to put it. They get lost in their persona. It becomes a thing, and I'm almost jealous of it, because I think that those that can create a persona get lost or taken. Actually, taken is a better way to put it. With the dream easier. So when they put on that garb, when they become that person, they take that person into an event, and the mundane world falls away, and all of those things get left at the gate. And so I absolutely adore my friends that can do that, because it's a skill I don't possess. And I'm almost jealous of it, because they become that person. They have the mannerisms, they have the style, they have the carriage, they have the speech patterns, and they can tell you everything about this character that they're playing, and it's really fucking cool. Whereas I'm a stick jock, and I have some pretty necklaces that like match the time period that I'm trying to portray. Can I sit with you and pick your brain? And so that's because I'm like the other end of the spectrum, and so I absolutely adore that persona build. It's just not really Western culture, and I wonder if I would be different, raised in a different kingdom.
Well, okay, so I've done both. Like I said, I've done both. The I don't have a persona, I just have a name, and then I have like a super like extensive thing that I do that's persona, clothes, camp, all of that. And now I'm back to I still have my name. But my name is a 16th century Italian name, and I'm wearing Slavic, right? Like, that's kind of where I am right now. And the SCA accepts all of that. Like, the bottom line is you may find if it is one of these things where the kingdom that you're in is more intensive or interested in like, actual persona, you could feel pressured to really like pick something right away that you're like, okay, well, I pick this. And then you find out that it's not really the thing you want to do. And now you've got to go through this whole like explanation to everybody that, you're changing your name, your clothes, your camp. But the way that I look at the SCA is that your name is what you want it to be. Your clothes are what you want it to be. Your camp is what you want it to be. It's, we can pick and choose. We have the luxury in this game of picking and choosing what we want. So that would be kind of my answer. Yes, I know we're at 9.5 minutes, baby ninja, Jesus. Okay, fine. I'm gonna drink.
Okay, let's move on from this one. We have soapboxed the hell out of this. I think it's actually a really good conversation to start and have. I would love to see us. I'm actually going to use this one as an asking for a friends question and drive some conversation around persona development and like how we can also be supportive while also understanding that some people don't want to develop personas. And so I will steal this one. I will probably post it around Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, so we can continue this conversation, because I think this has been a really, really cool conversation. Mineko, I will ping you about it, because I would love you to post your opinions about it, because I think this could be some really good conversation to continue on.
I just want to dress like Thorfinn when I grow up. Is that okay?
I know, right?
I want the axe and everything. I'm just going to hang out there.
Like on the axe.
Yeah.
Okay, so most of Thorfinn's persona though is panache. Like that's part of the thing.
Like style and ego.
Imagine,
all there.
Yeah, it's there. He could be in a wet paper bag.
Imagine this empty bottle of Moet is Thorfinn's axe, and this is him in every picture.
Yeah,
right.
I have them pinned on Pinterest. I'm just gonna say that right now. Like the stash.
Shit ever, right?
But yeah, no, it's great. Like I freaking love it. And attitude's everything. Like you could dress in plain white and oatmeal tunics and natural linen and be Scott and Matt. Sorry, Dobrushka, and I'll remember his.
I'm like I almost remembered it.
I have them. It's
not
right there. Farrell. No.
Farrell.
Thank you. You could Dobrushka and Farrell and are perfectly just natural linen, and it's style points. It's just who they are. It's gorgeous and wonderful. And that's fine too. Okay.
Oh my God.
All right. Move along. Next question.
Let's go next one.
All right. So the next question is from me. Actually, and amusingly enough, it's from the two hosts. One way you try to help create SCA whimsy and shenanigans.
One way you try to create whimsy and shenaniganry in the SCA.
I help host parties.
Mm-hmm.
I get people together. I get them to bring booze and bartend and play games and whatever the thing is. And we just have a great time because we take ourselves a little too seriously sometimes. And I think at one point someone tried to say this negatively about me, like, oh, she became the party pelican. Like she just got her pelican for hosting parties. Never mind the offices that I'd held from like day one. But yeah, I hosted parties and they were freaking amazing and everybody had a great time. So eat it. Yeah, I'll be the party pelican. I've got my little glow in the dark pelican medallion. It's fun. I love the group that I'm in, like the Brotherhood of Bengal. We'll cook and host a party. Sine Nomine we have the Wobbly H in camp, and we have dildo or dog toy, whatever it is. It's just like, these are the things that we do. We don't take ourselves seriously. We have all the fun.
I need to back this bus up. Back this bus up. Where the hell did you get a glow-in-the-dark Pel medallion? And who do I need to bribe to get one?
It's a Penzit glassmaker who makes really cool. They have glass blowing at Penzit.
It's probably Historical Glassworks.
Yeah.
I will be contacting them about that because I want one.
Did they do a Laurel one?
Yeah, they do. They have limited run glow-in-the-dark carriage medallions at every Penzit.
Okay. I would like to note, Historical Glassworks, if you are watching this, I am contacting you about these.
Yeah, I got Countess Melissa a glow-in-the-dark lion because
I
she's
desperately
also
want a
female.
glow-in-the-dark laurel. That would be super cool. Anyways, glow-in-the-dark everything. So historical glassworks. You've seen Helga and I both drink out of these glass beakers. They're glow-in-the-dark. They're by historical glassworks. So that's why I was
I
like,
don't have the whole glass, but
yeah.
I mean that's cool too. I want one now.
Well, you know, we can hook you up, girl.
I usually have a black light in my SCA bag so I can like charge up and run around places and get.
I love my mug from Historical Glassworks. It is one of the coolest things ever because it's literally like I can just run it under the sunlight and then you run around with it for hours and never lose your mug.
Yeah.
Like it is. I adore their work.
All right. So, have we answered that question?
No, we have not answered that question.
Okay, have you? I haven't answered, and then you need to answer, right?
Yes.
Okay. How do we help create SCA whimsy and shenaniganry? You know, that's a really hard question to answer as a laurel, because you don't get party laurels. You don't get created. I mean, some very rare occasions, yes, for like. I knew someone that was apprenticed to be a basically she was wanted to do like historical party throwing. So it was a whole thing. She unfortunately unfortunately for us, but you know, go her. She's doing other things in her life, so she's gone away from the SCA. But yeah, like you know, we get this laurels get this like reputation of being hard asses and the enemy of fun and all that stuff. But I
am cooking laurels bring food and they're my favorite.
So food, booze, beverage, you know, just but I think like overall, honestly, like I don't want to be a place that isn't, I don't want to be hanging out in a place that isn't full of people having a good time. So I'm not going to be the fun police. I'm not going to be like, we're not being historically accurate because we're drinking, you know, Manhattans or whatever. Manhattans are the first thing that came to my mind when I thought of like a non-historically accurate beverage, you know, which all cocktails until like literally the 19th century are not historically accurate. So that's the whole thing. But I don't care. You know what? You're having fun. You're rocking out, like go on, you know, rock on with your bad self. That's what I'm gonna support you in your rocking on of your bad self, as long as you're not hurting yourself or anyone else. Go ahead, have fun, do whatever the fuck you want. I'm not here to tell you it sucks. Now, with a caveat, the laurel kicks in and says, if you're trying to be a laurel or you want to be a laurel, you've got to document it. I just want to see the documentation. So if you're like, I'm doing all these shenanigans, pew pew, and you're expecting to get laureled for it, all I want to see is the documentation, and then we can have that discussion. But otherwise, I don't care. I don't need to see the documentation. If we're just here to have fun, that's all we're doing. So.
Helga saw something funny.
I've had enough drinks to be like, so if I can document the royals fucking at parties, that counts?
Oh, girl, you could totally document.
I mean, that's like an easy one. That's all across like all periods of like the royals banging themselves and other people at parties. Like that's SCA gold in history, but also a period practice. So. I like how everybody that's ever been royal watching the show just went, Yeah, hold my beer. Wait, which throne was that?
You know what? It's practically a fucking tradition now. Like,
I mean, yes.
I'm so surprised. Everybody's fucked in somebody else's throne, like, right?
I would like to note that I have actually never fucked on the thrones, never fucked in any of the coronets or crowns that I've worn. However, I cannot say anything else for other kingdoms. I like how Sassy went from slightly judgy to like, bitch, that's right.
I haven't done any of those things. I'm a little rules follower. Like, would I ever? No, gosh, no, heck no.
I mean, so I actually, amusingly enough, this is a total rabbit hole. The West Kingdom crowns to me are like this weird sacred fucking thing. Like, And people mention, they're like, oh, we did this in them. I'm like, I have feelings about what you just told me. Moving on. But also, like, all the other kingdom crowns are the same way for me. Like, even the principality stuff. The thrones are kind of, like, a little different, but, like, the crowns and the coronets, for me, for some weird reason, are, like, that is a no bad touch place. And I'm a weird kinky bitch, and that's my no-go. Like, I don't understand that. Like, that's just one of those weird things where they are sacred items where it's like, you take that the fuck off your head. Like, end of story. That does not come out to play. I don't know what the hell it is.
But what is your fun, frivolous thing that you do to make fun in the SCA? Like,
I'm gonna go back to that.
Let's go back to the actual question.
So the one thing is, so I'm actually, this is gonna be a slightly serious side, is promoting and being safe within party spaces. So we actually went through the Me Too movement. We've gone through some accountability movements and everything else like that. In the process, I'm going to again shout out the Wobbly H. The Wobbly H fucking saved me within the SC. Because everybody within the Wobbly H is very, like, one, they're all accountable, and two, they're fucking party fiends, but they're party fiends for, like, the right reasons.
Fun young years.
And they grabbed me and fucking just took me on this wave, and I was like, oh, this is what the SCA is actually about. But how I try to, like, keep the whimsy and the shenanigans going is by promoting it with accountability, actually. And so, like, cool, we're gonna go party, but, like, we have a sober walker, we have somebody that's gonna make sure people are gonna get home safe and, like, check for consent and everything else like that. And so we're gonna make sure that, like, if you're partying with me, you know that you can get hammered and you're gonna wake up the next morning with no regrets. And so that's actually how I'm trying to, like, keep that whimsy going and keep those shenanigans going, is because part of that is making sure that your people are safe and having an amazing time with you. And I'm going to tell you that everybody at the Wobbly H and many of the other camps that I've been into partying are that same way. There's always somebody that is chosen to sit out that night to make sure people don't make those bad choices. Or, get kind of stuck with a bad choice, or, like, the unsure choice of, like, consent rules here are, like, kind of gray, so we're gonna make sure that, like, the next morning, if you want to bang, have that sober conversation if you want to bang, but right now both of you ain't sober, fuckers.
We all know we're in trouble when Gabe is our voice of reason, which does happen sometimes.
No, for real. Gabe has been my voice of reason twice now, and that's scary.
And for those who don't know, we're talking about Sir Gabe, currently of Artemisia, who happens to be Zipser's brother and is an all-around fun person. But when he's the voice of reason, we're like, oh, that, like, it's almost the same when Nikita's the voice of reason. You're like, oh, we were really gonna.
We were all about to fuck up.
Yeah.
And so basically, by making sure that all the parties have that voice of reason, and somebody is choosing to be in that. Like, you don't volunteer somebody into the voice of reason, because then they're going to set you up to fail. But, like, making sure that in parties, like, if people have a safe space, they'll party, they'll be themselves, they'll have a good time. And the SCA is supposed to be that. We're just maturing, and we're coming to understand that that is a different concept than what we had. And so, like, I'm going to say that, like, I want shenanigans to happen. Like, I love the idea of stealing kingdom banners, but you have to make sure that all the royals are on board. So you write emails and you're like, hey, by the way, we would really like to do this job. Would this be something that would end up pissing you off? Or is, like, everybody deciding that this is game on? Like, these are the rules of the game, and everybody's going to know the rules. And so we can all go have fun, because that's what creates the whimsy and the shenanigans in the SCA, is when you know the box that you can play in. Fucking get rowdy, guys. And I'm going to make sure that everybody knows these are the parameters. Now let's get rowdy. Because that's part of the fun. Like, I love banner stealing. I love the games of, like, cool, we're, like, the knights challenge the squires to a drinking contest. Sweet. Who's a sober walker for the knights? Who's a sober walker for the squires? I'm bringing the bottles, bitches. Like, let's throw down. And so, like, things like that. I want to bring the whimsy. I love the party culture. I love the idea that the party culture also brings in our newcomers. They bring in our fringies and everything else like that. We just put a couple safety things in place. And then we can all go have a rowdy time. And, you know, if I'm the sober walker one night, guess what? The next night, not my job. Like, that's somebody else's. And they volunteer into that position. And then we keep going.
I'm a great sober walker.
I'm
to bed
like
at 10 p.m. every night.
I'm a terrible vomit tender, though. Like, once you get to the point of keeping drunk, I'm not your girl.
No. Yeah, so I'm usually in bed by 10 p.m. So 99% of this stuff.
Then you never win the war. Winning the war is definitely staying up the latest.
I cannot do that. Randomly I can, but most times cannot. So yeah.
I used to, and then not so much anymore.
Oh, I'm a huge fan. Also, I think some of the most interesting SEA conversations happen, like when it's, oh my God, like we're going to fight at 8 a.m., but yet it's still 3:30 and here we are. Like, I love it when His Grace William from Drakkenbald comes out, things over, and, you know, if Thorfinn's at that war, and we all get to hang out, you know, we're up at 3-4 in the morning. It's like suddenly you learn that, you know, Ulfr can sing, and suddenly, like, it took a couple years because he's kind of shy and a little quiet, but fucking William's hilarious. And if you don't know him well enough to know that guy is so funny, like, it's a very dry delivery, but once you get there, it's delightful. And it's just like, those are my favorite things about being a late night person and also like an inner kingdom traveler, is all these people that we get to hang out with. It's like, you know, when we go to Pinzik and we make our way down to the bog and we get to go into camp with, you know, Elanon's friends who hosted us, it was amazing. It's like, we're so fortunate, and staying up late is half the battle, because those are when you get to hang out with all the fun people. Thank you. That was my rule, and I'm breaking the shit out of it. That's just the world we live in.
Sassy, I want your cornet. It is life.
You know where to get it.
All right, so we ready for the next question?
Sure. Okay, so this is from caller. What is your proudest moment as a teacher?
I think my proudest moment as a teacher was one of my students that I took basically because he was a squire first. And, you know, coincidentally, it only took like a day, but I was going to take a student just because I wanted to teach him how to say no. He was taking a lot of jobs that took him off the field and was kind of killing his fun and the thing that he set out to do. And even though he was offered fucking knighthood that day that I took him as a student, it still was the intent that we had, because I think that, you know, making sure that you have someone that can help you not only guide you in the things that you should be doing, but also maybe give you the reason why you can say no, that's huge for me. And so I really enjoyed having that moment with Sassy, with Matthias, and, you know, however long it takes until he gets his Pelican, then great, but, you know, at least we checked off that first thing day one, because I was prepared. I was prepared to be able to, like, no, you can't do that. You need to go fighty. So.
Helga?
Proudest moment as a teacher. There's actually a bunch. And so I'm actually going to go with with a fighting moment, and my squire is actually totally thieved from another night because I'm a terrible human being, but D1's amazing, and probably one of my proudest moments was before he was my squire. We were talking about body mechanics, and some of the other things that he needed to do, and he was fighting a little bit as he was fighting with some fear problems. He'd been hurt in armor. And so we'd worked through that, and he's getting into that like bold phase of his fighting where we just wanted to like kind of let him go and like just go be bold. And then he did something mechanically that I was like, if you ever fucking throw that shot again, I will gut you. That was so physically dumb. Yeah, that is how you don't have fucking elbows at the end of things. And so we did a correction on the side of the field, and then he was like, cool, I'm gonna go fight again, and I want you to watch me. And then he just fucking smoked this night with the entire concept that we went through. Like, I was expecting him to retain maybe a quarter of the concept and then like go do it and play with it, but it worked well enough for him that he just like it was the right thing at the right time. And watching him, it wasn't the fact that he actually like nuked this dude, because that's what happened. It was watching him execute the entire conversation that we just had was one of those moments where it was super humbling, because it was like, oh, we actually work on the same level. Like, what I just said to you makes sense. And it was a really proud moment because I watched him show the fighter that he will become. Like, it was just all of his potential all at once happened, and it was a sweet spot and a sweet moment. But it was that moment where I was like, oh shit, like maybe I can take a squire someday. Maybe I can teach other people, because we had this conversation and then I watched it happen through another human being, and it was just fucking mind-blowing, actually. And I'm still proud to this day of how he processes the conversations that we have. And I don't think that I would respect myself as a teacher if he wasn't actually my student. He helped me become the teacher I am today, because in the process of him learning, he actually validated how I was speaking. And so it was a truly humbling moment that I'm also super fucking proud of.
I would say my simple answer is proudest moment is when my student taught someone else, became,
oh yeah,
you know, and took the reins, and you know, that all the fear, all of the anxiety that goes along with teaching, that they stepped up and you know, they taught someone else what they knew, and that was my literally my proudest moment. So that for me is, yeah, when my student teaches someone else, that's my proudest moment.
I'm really looking forward to seeing that happen, and also I'll probably just throw my hands up and walk away and just be like, what have I done?
Well, no, that's what you do. You're just basically like, oh, what hell hath I wrought? Also, yes.
Yes. Yeah, and that's
the best part too, is when they know they click something and they suddenly level up in front of your face, and you're like, holy shit, they know. It just like light bulb moment, they like are running with it, and you're like, oh my god, they're gonna just like outstrip me in like a second. But that's great. That is actually really, really cool to be in that position where you watch somebody else level up, you know, that you helped. And yeah, so that's my easy answer, is just watching them teach someone else, watching them level up, watching them blossom into their own like badass, you know, artisan in my case. So yeah,
I cannot wait to see my students become better than I am today.
Oh, me too. I want that. That to me is something that completely like complete my life. Like, I want that. So anyways,
I cheated. Matthias is already better than me. He was a great servant before I got him.
That's like you cheat coded that one.
He's the epitome of boots on the ground, and I love him. And as soon as we get back, he's the Knight Marshal of Oberon. So pew pew. He's great. I love him.
I like your like cheat code dropping this one in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, we ready for the next question? Before Baby Ninjas try to ding us for a drink.
Well, I'm also just like, Baby Ninja, are you awake?
I'm surprised he's not like, bitches, look at my
You weren't this time last week. You were like, literally, this is Baby Ninja last week.
You make coffee, cold brew, drink, snacks.
All right, so next question comes from Haley. What do you do when you have to pee and you're the focus point of the situation?
Girl.
You're about to understand this one to a level that is insane.
I usually just say potty break, or this came from Dionysia's reign, which is potty, 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 because that's what we say to the dogs. Mm-hmm. So we're like, always potty, potty. So yeah, that's what I did at Estrella, because it's Estrella, you know, the rain, the weather, whatever. Like, it's so weird to have to take someone with me when I can see the privy from the front door. It's right there. I can see it. But so yeah, we just pottied. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's what comes out of my mouth. But usually it's, excuse me, I need a moment, and then I just go to the bathroom.
My answer is we cut to commercial. I've never sat on a throne, so I don't know what it's like to be locked in.
I just imagine you sitting on a throne and there's gonna be a guard member with cut to commercial, and it just stands out there with like cut to commercial, and like this is when some of the other announcements happen, with that guard just standing out there like cut to commercial, and you show back up and he just like turns around and walks back behind the throne.
I remember Brian Winterborn taking a potty break in the middle of like a court, like straight up in the middle. He's like, sorry y'all, gotta go. And then I think he's like, Harold, make announcements, and he just bolted. I don't even know if he did that much. We're like, not that long, Brian. Go to the bathroom before you sit down.
Yeah. So as somebody who has a very small bladder and one that is easily activated with liquid, it is a, every 10 minutes, 15 minutes kind of an issue sometimes. But I also am somebody who is, I go back to my training as a singer, and I sung in choirs professionally for a long time. And there were times where like you had to dip out, right? Like you had to, and either you were going to pass out, or, you had to pee and there was just no way out of it. And you wait for that moment where it's not, you're not you're not in the middle of a ceremony. You're not in the middle of a song, but you can get that moment. And I've seen this happen in court numerous times, even when the king and queen, it's, a court, a full court and everything. The king and queen will have a pause. There'll maybe be like a presentation or something. You can always also interact with your herald, I think, with, hey, can you stall for 5 minutes while I run to the privy? I've seen that happen as well. So there's always a way out. Like there's always kind of a way, like, you know what, this is not going to wait another 2 hours. It's got to happen now. And you can call a break. You can just say, like the court will take a break for the next 10 minutes. We will come back and like resume. But yeah, like there's always a polite way to dip out and to, get into the next thing. And especially when it's not your court. When you're not the center stage, when you're not the person that's like standing up and being like, center of attention, you can always basically wait for a very polite break and then dip out. That polite break would be something like in between presentations, you just, get out and then you come back. And somebody who has to pee all the time, that's literally my answer. Wait for a polite break. If there is no polite break and you're the center stage, you can call a polite break. Yeah. Okay.
So I'm the opposite of Tulia. I have basically the trucker's bladder, where I can just like power through. However, when the power through becomes, you need to pee, I'll just be like, excuse me, I'll be back. And I'll just fucking leave. Because when I have to pee, like, we're done.
Right meow.
Like, right meow. Like, this is happening. I am going to find the nearest porta-john. I'm going to pee. And if people are uncomfortable with me saying, like, please excuse me, I need to go pee, they're probably not the people that should be hanging out with me.
No, and I just want them to stand like fit away. It's like across the road is fine. You don't need to be like in the door.
Oh yeah, no, like, and that's my most hilarious moment of being royal was trying to sneak out of my tent at 6 a.m. so I could just take my dog for a walk and go pee by myself because it was 6 a.m. Like the sun was just coming up. And one of my court members had figured out that I was doing this and met me. And I was like, you could still be asleep, you know that. It's totally fine. Like the hat's not on. And they're like, nope, we're attending you. I was like, Remember,
you'll never have to worry about with me 6 a.m.
You never have to pee alone. as a royal. But the thing is also, don't be
You
bashful.
never will pee alone.
Yeah, you never will pee alone as a royal. But also just don't be bashful. Like, that's one of those weird Western standard culture things, and like mundane Western culture things is we don't talk about needing to pee. Nope, I'm blunt as fuck, where I'm just like,
wait a minute. I thought it was a Western culture thing. Oh, you mean like Western culture? I'm like, oh, but in California, we'll totally tell you we need to.
no, like mundane Western society is very much like you don't need to tell people when you go pee, and you don't tell people when you need to go like do anything else. And so amusingly enough, one of the queens that I attended would hit the toilet paper roll twice to tell me like, hey, you can go wander for a minute. It's gonna be a moment. Like, I need a moment by myself. Was very much so the like key. If I heard the roll, that was like, oh,
I would just say it. I'd literally.
I'll see you in 15.
Yo, come back in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, like that was how I was. Where I'm like,
yeah,
I need to sit and think. We'll see in a minute.
I'm not. I am not shy. Like, I'm literally not shy at all about announcing to the world that I gotta go run to the little Tulia's room.
We literally just talked about shitting and peeing so long we had to drink. Congratulations to us.
Yeah, that's
what ladylike.
I'm between two peers. That's what we do.
Also, I'm getting really red, so the snacks may become more frequently.
Okay, sure. We can move on.
All right, here's the next one.
If you could personify your salty nature, what type of salt would it be?
Mo Salt. He's a delightful cook from the Outlands who, if he's making it, you eat it. And I have at least 5 or 6 of his salt varieties, and they're all fucking amazing. The sour cherry salt on whipped cream and berries is my favorite, I think. But they're all really good. So
that's amazing.
Salt, I'm really, really lucky. And also, I'm a very voracious, happy eater. So people like to feed me, and that's fortunate.
Helga?
Mo Salt.
Miss Inkoska gave me the sour cherry salt, which is life.
Well, that's what she said. She's like, the sour cherry salt.
Yeah, the sour cherry salt. So the only thing that I have found that beats it for a margarita, because I understand that I am a tequila drink.
On a margarita, that'd be so good.
It is. There is one thing that fucking beats it, though. It is insane. So I understand that I personify a margarita drink. You're either having a lot of fun and everybody's clothing is falling off, or we're fucking fist fighting. There is very little in between in my personality. So
like, you're either Zipser or Bela. Good fucking luck.
Pretty much, actually, and it's kind of a roll of the dice. I'm just either Zipser or Bela, but with tits.
Okay. Well, because Zipser's like the happy cheerleader when he gets drunk and his voice like gets all high pitched and he just wants to love everybody. And I imagine that Bela drinking tequila, someone's gonna die.
No, Bela drinking tequila is bad. You don't give Bela tequila.
No, you give Bela strawberry daiquiris.
Yes, you do. And so the only salt that beats that sour cherry salt is I've had a sour raspberry salt. And I'm going to go with that because the salt that I personify is not for everybody's palate. Not everybody's going to agree that it should fucking exist, but I'm goddamn good on a tequila drink and I will fuck your shit up.
There you go.
I'm going to go the route of fleur de sel. So I want sweet and salty. I want that little, like I need like that caramel with a salt kind of coating to it, or the chocolate with the salt to it. That would be me. I'm the fleur de sel. That's exactly what I am. By the way, Maggie, I'm sorry, Dobroshka, Jesus. You said you were making pot de crèmes. Pot de crèmes are really good if you throw some salt, kosher salt on top of that shit. It's super good. So I kind of drank, but I don't really have any liquid left anyway.
Like, I'm down to ginger beer. Also, I would like to note that I hear a second splashing.
Oh, geez.
Coming up. She says, I'm helping Baby Ninja. She gave us a
little timer. So when I came up with the rule, it was actually in drink on this. Melissa and Casca actually brought an egg timer to our period circles because some people are
I love you.
long-winded.
Yeah. All right.
Every person that says I'm gonna echo or ditto what my, or just to paraphrase, or they all suck.
So we actually in our period circles said, if you agree, raise your hand. If you have a counterpoint, then we will call on you. And so there was that cut down the amount of like echo / like reiteration of like, cool, do you agree with that point? Just raise your hand. We're gonna count you. Great. Now we're moving to a counterpoint. We are not accepting we agree with this. Like, you don't get to talk if you agree with what just came up. All right, are we ready for the last question of the evening?
Let's do the last question.
But I totally screwed that up for our people during that. So this one comes from Thomas. What is your Jedi power? And what do you get in trouble for doing with it?
And what would you get in trouble?
My Jedi power. God. I don't even know what that would be for me. I think, can I paraphrase this to like, what is my like peerage power maybe, or SCA power?
Yeah, sure.
I can't conceptualize it as, sorry, I'm terrible at this. I think mine is social networking, like being able to bring people together. Like, you like Roman and you like Roman, you guys need to meet. You like glade fighting and you like glade fighting. Oh my God, have you fought so-and-so? Like, I love that aspect of our hobby. So I get in trouble with it though, because people make fun of me because I like, fucking everybody. I'm like, I pay attention. It's my thing. Yeah. So I guess that is my jam. And maybe it doesn't fit into the Star Wars canon, and I apologize, but it didn't come with a lightsaber.
So you're going with the Jedi mind tricks, where you're like,
I was going to say,
thank you.
Chimed in and said,
it back in,
convincing folks to do stuff. Yes.
Yeah, you're going to be like, you were supposed to meet this person.
Yes.
You're taking that second drink.
Sometimes.
Yeah, you wanted salt on the rim.
We got someone, and I won't mention any names, to have 9 different drinks of Malort because they were convinced that the 4 bottles were different.
Okay, that is 100%. I know who that was. That's fucking hilarious. And so yours is the Jedi mind trick of like.
Oh, Zachariah was there too. It was definitely like a combined effort of assholery, if not just like, can we do it again? We can do it again. That's amazing. They think it's different.
Baby Ninja, were you live with your commentary just now? Okay.
Baby Ninja would like to know who falls for that, and we are not outing names.
What happens at the Wobbly H stays at the Wobbly H. Thank you. No, it's so good.
If only you could hear the background right now.
Like, Baby Ninja is losing his shit about multiple shots of Malort.
Yeah. We all do. If you host the H and you are getting other people to drink things, you yourself have to be willing to consume it. So I would like to, an asshole if you yourself won't do it. So pre-pandemic, we were drinking it too.
I've still never had Malort. The name sounds terrible, but I'm also intrigued.
Okay, I want you to note that like Malort is non-lethal fucking pine sol.
Okay.
That's what Malort is. Along with like, if you actually have ever eaten raw pine nuts before they're roasted, if you take pine sol and add non-roasted pine nuts and take all the lethality out of it.
And chew on a grapefruit rind while you're at it.
Oh yeah, and chew on a grapefruit rind while you're at it. It's effing terrible. It is like, you would be licking dirt and get a better fucking experience.
Wait. So I like absinthe. I like orzo. I like, all sorts of very strong, things that people hate. But like, I'm gonna hate Malort.
Yes, because I like absinthe. And I'm live now, by the way.
Like the Swedes, William tastes it, goes, it's a little mild. We have stronger at home, which I really want him to bring that drink with him. If you're listening.
Okay, that's gonna be called the Black Death, and it's fucking terrible.
No, Black Death we have Black Death. No,
okay, have you had Strawberry Surprise?
It's another wormwood liqueur that the Swedes have, and I think it's a best of some.
that stuff though? Okay, so
Okay.
I'm getting a lot of
That's
people
just
that like absinthe and all of that derivative. Say,
Yeah,
like,
absinthe is nothing like this.
No.
I like absinthe, and Malort is nothing like it. Also, I would like to note that one of our fans on the Between Two Peers server actually can get a hold of a case of Malort because they're right next to the fucking production facility, and that's happening.
So
No.
I just thought
Can we be on a Malort soapbox? I think we're on a Malort soapbox.
We
I
are.
think we are. So actually, what's really funny though is what was it, Stevie or Sophia? Sorry, I would drink except for I don't have any liquid left.
You didn't bring your own shaker.
Normally I do, but I'm trying to be good and not get completely fucked up. But she says it's just going to be bile. Yeah, I have that problem with like grapefruit. Grapefruit tastes like bile to me. So if it's more like a grapefruity thing, yeah, it's not gonna.
It's a wormwood liqueur. It's just really, it's got a lot of bitters in it. So
I would
Okay,
rather
good.
get tased again than drink Malort.
Yeah. Anyways, so what was the question? It was about Jedi powers?
Yeah. Well, okay, so what would your Jedi power be, and how would you abuse it?
Oh God, I don't even know. You know what? For as much of a Star Wars fan as I am, I actually don't think I'd be a Jedi. I really don't. I think
I mean, you can say that you're like, because those are the Jedi, the Sith, and the Gray Jedi.
I'm not going to be any of those. I don't think I have Jedi powers. I don't think I have Jedi powers. Okay, so Baby Ninja said that we have, the Jedi have chroniclers and all that stuff, but yeah, but it's not. They're not Jedi powers. I'm like, can I? If I were to have anything, I would be like, bring me that cocktail across the room. Like, use the Force to get the cocktail. And
so the Force reach, so you'd be fine.
But everybody can do that if you're a Jedi. It's not special.
I would like to note that each Jedi has kind of like a niche on that. So if you're gonna like make that your niche, then you would be able to like mix a cocktail upstairs and it would float down to you, and you would not need to text Thorfinn about it.
Oh, my sweetheart is actually.
I was gonna say, where is that drink, by the way? She's hinted 25 times. Thank you, Your Grace.
There's my Jedi power.
So we're falling right back into the mind powers. So you and Mineko are right on to that, like.
I was actually gonna say, like, I think I would be more like Amidala or Leia. I would be like the politician, like that angle. Like, I don't think I would be maybe Force sensitive, but I don't think I would be like an actual trained Jedi. So yeah, I'd go with that. I would be politically savvy, maybe a little Force sensitive. Anyways, wait, what did Hansa just say?
Oh no, he's talking with the puppy who is trying to heal.
I was like,
the puppy, he's trying to put on a sweatshirt, and the puppy is very interested in keeping the sleeves of the sweatshirt. And he is currently talking with the puppy about like, this is not an acceptable behavior. You do not get to keep my sleeves.
Oh.
The puppy was out cold, by the way, after our romp outside where we had to keep the dead mouse from him. He was very much so like, oh, okay, I take a nap now.
Okay, so what's your answer, Ding Dong?
So I'm going to go with, I would be a physical user of the Force, so my Jedi powers would all be around, like, the picking up things at range and everything else like that, and blah, blah, blah. And if you don't think that I would Force choke bitches in mass, that is...
Oh, for sure you would.
Yeah, like 100%. Like, that's one of those things where I'd be sitting in peer council and somebody would be waxing on, and I would just be like, just shh. Or like in bed where somebody's like, I'm into choking, and I'm like, I have enough to deal with 5 of you at once. Like, I'm sorry, I don't even need to be in the room to get this kink going. So yeah, I would be a total physical Force user, and I would use that for purposes of shutting people the fuck up and for getting bitches off.
Okay.
Double whammy of usage.
Yeah.
Multitasking.
Darth Helga.
There was a very long debate and discussion if I would actually be a Jedi or a Sith, and one of my friends actually placed the very good argument that I would end up being one of the gray, like that gray area of not being either one, because I have a moral code, but my moral code isn't like zealot level. and so I wouldn't end up being a Jedi, but I'm not like just hate-filled enough to be a Sith. I'm not like, oh, let me like figure out how to manipulate everything. I'm kind of just like the middle ground of like, all you motherfuckers need to get along, otherwise I'm knocking you out. And so they're like, yeah, you'd be that like middle road. You'd have all the powers and none of the attachment to both extremes, and then you would just like knock heads between.
I'm just loving all the comments that I'm seeing that are like, no, Tulia would be a hot hut.
What does that mean? I don't know if that's a good thing or
actually not insulted by that. Actually kind of accurate. Do I just get to lounge around fabulously surrounded by my people? Yeah, that would be my thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to note my husband was just like literally had the affronted face to be like, no, she's lawful neutral.
Mm-mm. Girl, you are actually lawful neutral. You are.
I'm pretty sure I'm just chaotic.
Nope.
I usually consult my bromance Nikita for these things.
I think I'm actually like chaotic neutral. Weird. Yeah.
So I would like to note that we are 13 likes away from my puppy being in my lap.
All right, people. So we have 97
Where's
people.
that link?
Only 86 people have liked. Oh God, I haven't liked yet. I just liked. If we could get to what number?
We have to get to 100, and then my puppy shows up in my lap.
12 more people. We get puppy.
So with that, we've been running for 2 hours. Do we want to wrap up the show?
Yes, but we also want to see the goddamn puppy. So come on.
Oh, we're at 93 likes. We only need 7 likes. So while we're doing the wrap up of the show, we can see if people hit to the 100 likes on it. So you guys get a pile full of puppy in front of my camera.
All right, so let's wrap this ding dongy thing up.
5 likes. So, Mineko, would you like to shout out anything else like that out there?
Well, I have a shout out, and of course, I think I've made a couple of good product plugs through the course of this. I don't know, it's going to be backwards, right? But this is Happy Birthday A-Bob, and it's got wings and a little cake and an alien and hearts, because His Grace Ailenon has a birthday this weekend. And one of his favorite things when he was home in Meridies was going to Wings with his buddies. And then we started that tradition here. And we all send each other like giant bird flipping off photos. It's great. And thanks, Seth, for the ideas. And then it's his birthday this weekend during a pandemic. And I guess it's like a milestone birthday. So that's my shout out. And by the way, he became Ailenon to A-Bob because Zipster's phone auto-corrected Ailenon to Alien Bob in it.
That's all Hans refers him to. I would like to note we're at 105 likes, so I will be sending a bag of dog treats to Baby Ninja's dog. And for all of your enjoyment, here is my 3-month-old puppy, who is just...
You need to name him Idris. You need to name him Idris. It's gotta be Idris. Come on.
I mean, he might turn into Idris because he is a beautiful black puppers.
He is beautiful. He is wonderful.
And he is just toes all over the place at this point. He's given up. He's just a fluke. So for
he loves you so hard.
Here he is, the best doggo Toe Beans, who is now chewing on my glasses.
Look at his locket. I like his little like.
I like his eyes are like, what the fuck?
He's like, I don't even know what's happening. I just love you hella hard.
My dog's just sleeping. I got nothing.
My kittens are upstairs. Who cares?
So, Julia, what is your shout out for the show?
I don't have a shout out. My shout out's your dog, your faces. I miss you all. I love you all. That's my shout out today. Helga, what's your shout out?
So I have 2 shout outs. So my first shout out is to all of our royalty and our officers that are oh my god, he licked my glasses.
He's gonna lick your makeup.
I'm sorry, the dog kicked my mic. So all of my shout out is to all of the officers and the royalty out there that are continuing to give their time and their dedication while we're in the middle of a pandemic. The SCA could not continue to survive without you. And so I am very, very grateful and appreciative of everything you're doing. Oh God. Hi, good boy.
Good boy, though. Look at him.
And then my second shout out is to the West Kingdom Service Symposium. And now we've hit Teefs.
Oh, right. The Service Symposium is this weekend.
Yeah, the Service Symposium is tomorrow. It starts tomorrow. It's 3 days or 2 days worth of classes about service in the SCA. So I'm teaching a 9 a.m. class on hype. For your events. There is amazing roundtables going on. There's service classes. It's not just for those who want to be a Pelican. Oh God, there is so much. So check it out. I'll drop a link in the Discord chat about it. Oh my God, he's so.
You don't have to be a member of the West Kingdom to join. You just drop in. And happy birthday, Alanon!
Happy birthday, Alanon! And so with that, I'm gonna wrap up the show, and I'm gonna say, hit that like button, share the show so we can get views, and follow us. Also, come check out the Discord chat. We hang out all week and chat with people, and we have conversations all the way from like who is the best doggo on the server.
Literally. Right now, your little one, who is named,
who is apparently now named Alba, sorry,
Hans.
So, come check us out. Come hang out with us. We love you all. Thank you so much for the like, shares, and follow. We keep doing this every week for you guys because you show up.
Okay. Wait a minute. We have a couple of people in the chat that really want Mineko to plug her pottery. Talk about your pottery.
So I came into the SCA in ceramics, and I make functional pots. Sometimes they look vaguely Egyptian shaped with Iranian snakes on them. Whatever. Sometimes they're just little bowls. No, I do whatever kind of floats my boat and makes me happy. I love kind of a non-traditional period. Like if you want some period pottery, go visit Dobroshka. If you for me,
like that. What's her Dobroshka?
Yeah, no, I do kind of a non-traditional SCA inspired for my pottery. I don't sell, I don't vend. Support your merchants before you support me. I trade with my friends, and sometimes people get largesse in presents. That's my jam on pottery, and I like making my friends presents.
Yay! Well, so we had a couple of people that just were asking. So
yeah, no, I do mostly ink work on naked bodies like this, where the kiln does the work for me.
That's beautiful. Wow.
I love wood firing. It's my jam.
So with that, I'm gonna say like, share, and follow. Thank you so much, Mineko. You have been an amazing guest. Love you all. We will see you. We'll see you soon.